Mantras of our Lord Sri Aurobindo. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, for those who wish to lead the spiritual life, the divine must always come first. Everything else must be secondary. With always our love and blessings, says our Lord Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo's Savitri, Book 5, The Book of Love, Canto 2, Satyavan, page 397. This golden figure, given to his grasp, hid in its breast the key of all his aims, a spell to bring the immortal's bliss on earth, to mate with heaven's truth our mortal thought, to lift earth hearts nearer the eternal's sun. In these great spirits, now incarnate here, love brought down power out of eternity to make of life his new undying base. His passion surged a wave from fathomless deeps. It leaped to earth from far forgotten heights, but kept its nature of infinity. On the dumb bosom of this oblivious globe, although as unknown beings we seem to meet, our lives are not aliens nor as strangers joined, moved to each other by a causeless force. The soul can recognize its answering soul across dividing time and on life's roads, absorbed, wrapped traveler, turning it, recovers familiar splendors in an unknown face, and touched by the warning finger of swift love, it thrills again to an immortal joy, wearing a mortal body for delight. There is a power within that knows beyond our knowings. We are greater than our thoughts, and sometimes earth unveils that vision here. To live, to love are signs of infinite things. Love is a glory from eternity's spheres. Abased, disfigured, mocked by baser minds that steal his name and shape and ecstasy, he is still the Godhead by which all can change. A mystery wakes in our inconscient stuff. A bliss is born that can remake our life. Words of our Lord Sri Aurobindo, taken from the collective works of our Lord Sri Aurobindo book Letters on Yoga, Volume 4, topic Difficulties in the Practice of the Integral Yoga, Section 2, Overcoming the Difficulties of Yoga, Chapter 5, Dealing with Depression and Despondency, subtopic Despondency over Difficulties. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says mistakes are always possible. There is no need to be disturbed by that. Whatever you see, don't get disturbed or depressed. If one sees a defect, one must look at it with the utmost quietude and call down more the divine force and light to get rid of it. When some weakness comes up, you should take it as an opportunity to know what is still to be done and call down the divine strength into that part. Despondency is the not right way to meet it. Let the peace and self giving increase till it takes hold of the parts in which they are imperfections and gets rid of them. As for the imperfections, it is right not to be troubled by them. Only one has to be conscious of them and have the steady and quiet will that they should go. And Lord Sri Aurobindo says, there is no true cause for the trouble. You have allowed it to come into you from outside. There are always forces moving about in the atmosphere, trying to disturb the sadhana and the progress. So, you must be careful not to allow them to invade you with their suggestions, whether of depression, despondency, discontent, or of anger, or of desire, or any ego movement, for it is these things that they try to raise. When they come, says our Lord, instead of remaining in this way and trying to find an external cause for them, recognize them and reject them at once. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, when a habit of these moods of depression or revolt has been formed, they cannot be got rid of at once. There are three ways of doing it. One, to strengthen your own will so that nothing can come or stay as it likes, but only as you like. Second, to think of something else, plunge the mind in some healthy activity. Third, to turn to the Divine Mother and call in her force. One can do any of these or all, but even in doing them, it will take a little time to get rid of the habit. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says there are two golden rules. One, never be depressed or upset by difficulties or stumbles. Second, press always quietly forward. Then, however long it seems to take, always progress will be made, and one day you will be surprised to find yourself near the goal. It is like the curves followed by the train in the ascent of the mountain. They circle round, but always nearer and nearer to the goal. Everything is prepared above, then worked out through the inner being till the results are accomplished and perfected in the outer personality. Therefore, the sadhak ought not to allow himself to be alarmed, upset, or grieved, or made despondent by any apparent difficulties of the moment. He must know that all has been prepared above and calmly and confidently watch and assist its working out here. There is no need for sadness. Everyone has his difficulties, and it is a mistake to desire the state of another. One must follow the moment of one's own heart and self and psychic without looking elsewhere. And Lord Sri Aurobindo says the egoism, desires, faults of the nature are in everybody very much the same. But once one begins to be conscious of them and has the will to be free, then one has only to keep that will and there will be no real danger. For when one begins to be conscious in the way you have begun, and something from within raises up all that was hidden, it means that the Divine Mother's grace is on your nature and her force is working, and your inner being is aiding the Divine Mother's force to get rid of all these things. So you must not be sorrowful or discouraged or fear anything, but look steadily at all that comes out and have the will that it should go completely and forever. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, with the Divine Mother's force working and the psychic being supporting the force, all can be done and all will surely be done. This purification is made just in order that no trouble may occur in the future, such as happened to some because they were not purified, in order that the higher consciousness may come into a purified nature and the inner transformation securely taking place. Go on, therefore, with faith and courage, putting your reliance on the Divine Mother. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, these questionings and depressions are foolish movements of the mind. If you were not open to the Divine's grace, you would not have had these descents or experiences, and there would have been no such progress as you have made. You have not to put such questions, but to take it as a settled fact, and with full faith in the Divine Mother and her working in you, go on with your sadhana. Whatever may be the difficulties, they may be, will be solved by the natural progress of the sadhana. And Lord Sri Aurobindo says, what you write is no doubt true, and it is necessary to see to it as to be able to comprehend and grasp the true attitude necessary for the sadhana. But as I have said, one must not be distressed or depressed by perceiving the weaknesses inherent in human nature and the difficulty of getting them out. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says the difficulty is natural, for they have been here for thousands of lives and the very nature of man's vital and mental ignorance. It is not surprising that they should have a power to stick and take time to disappear, but there is a true being, a true consciousness that is there in us, hidden by these surface formations of nature, and which can shake them off once it emerges. But by taking the right attitude of selfless devotion within and persisting in it, in spite of the surface nature's troublesome self repetitions, one enables this inner being and consciousness to emerge and, with the mother's force working in it, deliver the being from all return of the movements of the world nature. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, why do you indulge in these exaggerated feelings of remorse and despair when these things come up from the subconscient? They do not help and make it more, not less, difficult to eliminate what comes. Such returns of an old nature that is long expelled from the conscious part of the being always happens in sadhana. It does not at all mean that the nature is unchangeable. Try to recover the inner quietude, draw back from these moments, look at them calmly, reducing them to their true proportions. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, your true nature is that in which you have peace and ananda and the love of the divine. This other is only a fringe of the outer personality, which, in spite of these returns, is destined to drop away as the true being extends and increases. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo continues to say, to be miserable may remind you of the defects of your external nature, but I do not see how it is going to cure them. I am not asking you to be frivolously happy, but to be quiet and quietly confident, rejecting these old moments, but for the rest, trusting not in the restless, self torturing personal effort, but to the divine force to change the external nature, turning more and more exclusively to the Divine Mother. That is the true way, and there is no other, says our Lord Sri Aurobindo. Prayers and Meditations, August 31st, 1914. in this formidable disorder and terrible destruction can be seen a great working and necessary toil preparing the earth for a new sowing which will rise in marvelous spikes of grain and give to the world the shining harvest of a new race. The vision is clear and precise, the plan of thy divine law so plainly traced that peace has come back and installed itself in the heart of the workers. There are no more doubts and hesitations, no longer any anguish or impatience. There is only the grand straight line of the work, eternally accomplishing itself in spite of all, against all, despite all contrary appearances and illusory detours. These physical personalities, moments unseizable in the infinite becoming, know that they will have made humanity take one further step infallibly and without care for the inevitable results, whatever be the apparent momentary consequences. They unite themselves with thee, O Master Eternal. They unite themselves with thee, O Mother Universal, and in this double identity with that which is beyond and that which is all the manifestation that tastes the infinite joy of the perfect certitude. Peace, peace in all the world. War is an appearance, turmoil is an illusion. Peace is there, immutable peace. Mother, sweet mother, who I am, thou art at once the destroyer and the builder. The whole universe lies in thy breast with all its life innumerable, and thou livest in thy immensity in the least of its atoms. And the aspiration of thy infinitude towards that which is not manifested to cry to it for a manifestation ever more complete and more perfect. All is, in one time, in a triple and clairvoyant total consciousness, the individual, the universal, the infinite.